The moment it happened, I knew it would never leave my mind. It wasn't planned, it wasn't invited, and yet it came into my life like a storm that didn't ask permission. Even now, when I close my eyes, that day plays back with a clarity that scares me, like my memory refuses to let it fade. Maybe because somewhere deep inside, I don't want it to fade. Maybe because some moments are meant to become part of you, whether they're right or wrong. It started on a day that felt painfully ordinary. I had gone to the old library across town, the one that always felt untouched by time. Dusty shelves, quiet aisles, warm sunlight slipping through tall windows, nothing special, at least not until he appeared at the end of the aisle, carrying that familiar half-smile that always made me look away before my thoughts betrayed me. He shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been there. But fate has a strange sense of humor, bringing two people together precisely when they're trying hardest to stay apart. He walked over slowly, like he was afraid one wrong step would break the already delicate space between us. We hadn't spoken in weeks, both trying to avoid what we already knew, trying to forget that moment when our eyes held too long, when silence said too much, when the world around us briefly disappeared. But running from something doesn't erase it. It only waits, quietly, for the right moment to return. "Didn't expect to see you here," he whispered, keeping his voice low, respectful, careful. "And yet you're looking straight at me," I replied, trying to sound unbothered. But the tremble in my voice betrayed me. He laughed softly, and, just like that, the atmosphere shifted. The distance we had forced between us for weeks dissolved in an instant. Neither of us touched, neither of us moved closer, but the air changed, a heavy, warm, loaded with everything unsaid. I told myself not to stay, not to let the moment grow, but my feet didn't listen. Something stronger held me there, something that made my heart beat just a little faster. He reached for the same book I was holding, brushing against my hand accidentally, or maybe not accidentally at all. My breath caught, and I knew he felt it too, because his eyes lifted to mine immediately. Neither of us spoke for a long second, a dangerously long second, the kind where the world slows and the truth becomes impossible to hide. "I thought avoiding you would help," he finally said, voice trembling with honesty. But it made everything worse. I didn't want to admit it, but the same truth burned inside me. Avoidance had only made the memory stronger, sharper, impossible to erase. We moved to a quieter corner of the library, both pretending we needed a place to talk. But talking was only part of it. We needed clarity, closure, something to explain why this one connection refused to loosen its grip on us. He sat across from me, elbows on the table, eyes fixed on mine like he was trying to read everything I wasn't saying. "Tell me I imagined it," he whispered. "Tell me that moment meant nothing." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Because lying would have been easier, safer, cleaner. But lying would have broken something inside me. "You didn't imagine it," I admitted, voice softer than I intended. I felt it too. His reaction wasn't relief or excitement. It was something heavier, like he finally heard the truth he'd been afraid to face. He leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his hair, exhaling deeply. "Then why does it feel like we're fighting something bigger than us?" he asked. Because we were. Because some connections, no matter how natural they feel, come with consequences neither heart is prepared to handle. Because life sometimes puts you in front of someone you were never meant to choose. We talked for what felt like hours, sharing thoughts we had buried, fears we had ignored, emotions we had pretended didn't exist. The more we talked, the more I realized why that moment never left my mind. It wasn't forbidden because it was wrong. It was forbidden because it mattered too much. Eventually, the sun slipped behind the windows, leaving only the dim library lights glowing above us. He walked me to the door, stopping just before we stepped outside. "Whatever this is," he said quietly, "I don't know where it leads. But I can't pretend it's nothing." Neither could I. And maybe that was enough for now. We didn't make promises. We didn't cross any lines. We just stood there in the fading light, acknowledging a truth we could no longer deny. One moment had changed everything, and pretending otherwise would never make it disappear. Some encounters remain in the mind forever because they arrive at the perfect wrong time. They linger, they echo, they follow you even when you try to outrun them. This was one of those moments. And whether I wanted it or not, a part of me knew I would remember it for the rest of my life.